Well, in this episode of Dismissible Me, we're going to be discussing my dysfunction and flaw finding on myself. Welcome and welcome back to my channel, Dismissible Me, a monologue and a compass for navigating dismissive avoidant attachment. Please hit the like button, subscribe for daily uploads Monday through Friday, drop your attachment style and where you are watching from, and any questions or future content ideas you would like to see me touch on in the comment section as well. So talking about my own dismissive avoidant attachment, before I get into that, let's discuss what dismissive avoidant attachment is. And it is a relationship attachment style characterized by extreme independence, a fear of intimacy, vulnerability, being very emotionally detached and aloof, a fear of commitment and being very hesitant to commit. It's associated with early childhood as being an early childhood coping mechanism, from dealing with caregivers that potentially were emotionally unavailable or inconsistent. So, diving into my own, where did it develop for me? To keep it light, because I want to just talk about facts and not make it look like I'm throwing people under the bus or trying to speak negatively about people, but it just comes from a lack of emotional ability for me. And then there's certain things that I was exposed to as a child, which I won't necessarily get into, which also instilled certain mentalities when it came to dealing with people in personal relationships, especially in romantic relationships, where I just didn't want to look like or be involved in certain types of situations or repeating certain things that I was seeing. So that's where it comes from for me. But I could pinpoint certain things if I wanted to, but then I didn't say that I wasn't still struggling with vulnerability, and so we're not going to give everything on this video today. But those are some of the things with me personally, as far as where this comes from for me. And then characteristics of dismissive avoidant attachments. Forgive me for looking down because I'm more organized today. I'm using a list. Emotional detachment, preference for independence, a fear of intimacy, difficulty trusting others, avoidance of vulnerability, reluctance to commit, difficulty expressing emotions, tendency to minimize problems, and difficulty forming close bonds. Me personally, I struggle with just about everything on this list. Absolutely. And if I go down, emotional detachment is the first thing, but it's also number one. I tend to not emotionally invest in people and or situations until I feel safe in the situation. So I can leave a job, I can leave a friendship, I can leave a relationship and absolutely act like I don't know you. Like I never was there. Like I never had an experience with you whatsoever. And a lot of it has to do with while I was there, while I was engaged, I wasn't fully engaged. I wasn't fully giving you all of me. And the preference for independence is probably my most defining characteristic, on top of my fear of my just not being vulnerable. But I like to do a lot of things by myself. I don't like to ask for help. It makes me totally uncomfortable to ask for help. I absolutely will not ask for help unless I have no other choice. And that has a lot to do with me believing, I'm not saying that it's true, so I'm choosing my words very carefully, believing that other people are just not safe, or they're not going to help me. They're not going to be helpful. I can count too many times where I asked the right people for help and they did the opposite of help. And it's just like, okay. So now that I'm an adult, which I'll do a whole nother video on that and how it's shown up in my adult relationships. Now that I'm an adult, I just don't leave myself open to having too many opportunities for people to have the opportunity to drop the ball with me. That's what I'd say. So that's the preference for independence, as well as a difficulty trusting others. Those two, for me, those two things fall hand in hand. Like, if I wouldn't be super independent, but also, well, and I could be super independent and not have trust issues, but then I would trust more people to do things for me. Maybe I would be less independent. I think that just makes sense, but that could just be me. We are here on a channel talking about my dysfunction, aren't we? The difficulty expressing my emotions. That's probably been the biggest thing in my personal and romantic relationships, because I'm not going to express my emotions. Yeah, I've just decided that I'm not. And one thing that I do up front is I let people know, listen, I like you, but what I'm not going to do, I'm never going to tell you I love you. That's not going to happen. You don't even have to worry about that for me. If that is important to you, you do not have to proceed any further. And the great part about that is they don't care. Even though that's important to them, they keep on dating you. They keep on being all in your face and putting all this full court pressure, okay, for you to be saying things that I told them I wasn't going to say. But I also understand, being a self-aware person, that that's kind of a wild thing to say to people. Here, I thought I was being secure and being upfront and honest and letting people know, and really I've just fully submitted to my dysfunction and I'm putting it on full display. Wow. What? The moment you figure that out, it's really a wild revelation. So definitely the difficulty expressing my emotions, though I can clearly express how and why I'm not going to express those emotions, is wild. The reluctance to commit, and that's a thing. Even if I really like someone, if I'm really attracted to someone, doesn't mean that I want a label, does not mean that I want to be parading around in public with you, does not mean that I want to have a permanent label, have a legal permanent tie to you, just because I have feelings for you. The thought of being married to somebody and tied into something that I would not be able to walk away from, like the idea of being trapped, somebody else, not even me, not even this person that I know that I signed up to spend the rest of my life with, somebody outside of me and this person is going to determine the outcome of what I got going on. Okay. Scary, terrifying, absolutely, positively. So even if I do really love you, we're not about to get married. Or I'll tell people that I always plan on on eloping, because if I plan a wedding, I'm never going to make it there. And that's because I'm going to find a million reasons before that wedding date, a year out, 9 months out, not to get married, not to go through with it. That's why. It's like, when I say certain things, I know exactly why I'm doing it. I'm very much self-aware. This is why we're here on this channel, letting it all out, so I don't have to do this in the real world. And obviously, forgive me again for looking down, when you add all these things together, emotional detachment, the preference to be independent, and if you do anything that threatens my independence, like saying you want to talk to me, you expect for me to call you every single day. Whoa. Sounds like you're trying to control me. What do you do? Well, I got to call you every day. Are you my boss? Is this a job? Like, in my mind, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm whole. You should be good, you should be happy, you should be whole, and we should meet in the middle and have good times together. I don't like to feel like your happiness, your excitement, whether or not you have a good day, relies on whether or not you speak to me or whether we're having a good time together or on good terms. That sounds a lot like me having to be responsible for somebody else's feelings, and that seems very suffocating. It seems like it puts way too much pressure on me. That is a good way for me to permanently disappear from your situation. If you display signs of that very early on, being clingy, being very emotionally needy, expressing your emotions too soon, strong emotions like talking about love, which I don't even like to say that word, just in general. Asking me early on in a relationship, or even sometimes it doesn't matter when it is, asking me where a situation is going, where it is headed. Yikes. Chill out. Slow down. I feel a bunch of pressure. I feel like, ooh, what are we doing? Why are you trying to tie me down? Why are you trying to tie me into something? I don't even know you yet. None of these things help you in developing close bonds with people. If anything, all these things help me to keep somebody at arm's length so that if and when they decide to do something crazy that turns me off, that I determine is unsafe, I'm going to be out of there, and I'm not going to be crying, playing 90s sad songs, Mary J. Blige, feeling crazy because I was being too vulnerable with somebody who wasn't worth it. So, and then rolling right into the impact that it's had on my relationships. Well, obviously it's either destroyed them over time, slowly but surely, like water on a foundation, water will win. Or it stops situations before they've even gotten started. Because I don't want to open up, because I struggle with well, I don't necessarily now. Now I'm in a totally different place. This is why I can do this on camera. But struggling with being able to express myself, struggling to resolve conflict in an adult manner without shutting down or pushing somebody away or just rushing to resolve the issue and then just dealing with the very quick decision that I made instead of maybe going back and apologizing, because I can be very prideful and stubborn. But yeah, it's the emotional detachment is not healthy for building anything, because people can sense when I'm emotionally detached, even though I'm doing my best to make them feel like I'm in it. And it's not like I'm being disingenuous. It's like I'm interested, but I also understand that I'm only going to be able to invest so much in the situation. The reluctance to commit. People don't want to hear that I need more time to date them, even though it's been 90 days, 6 months, and I'm still not sure if I want them to meet my family or put a label on it. I can see why that's ridiculous. And I'm not fighting these people. You're not going to see me chase someone. I'm definitely not going to do that. So don't pull any stunts or try to manipulate me into making any moves, because that won't work. Yeah, none of these things have helped me in developing good relationships with people. And even in friendships, I've struggled, which I will do another video on that. But the coping mechanisms, that have helped me is developing good communication skills. Now I say what I need up front, whether it's dysfunctional or not, as it's getting less dysfunctional. Developing good communication skills, good, bad, or indifferent, it has helped me and saved me and other people in a lot of ways, and just letting people know we should go our separate ways without wasting a bunch of time and things getting very messy. And doing a lot of self-reflecting and forcing myself to be aware of not only what I'm saying and doing, but how people are receiving it and how they are feeling, and being empathetic to that and moving around that. So that's all I have for you in this episode. Please check out my other videos, check out the playlist, find me on Instagram. All my information is down below in the description box. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what resonates for you for other dismissive avoidants out there. And drop your attachment style for all you other people that are not. So family, I'll be tapping in with you very soon. Keep it real.